In this world or matrix, you and I exist in the third dimension physically. I am talking to you in a physical body. You are watching this in a physical body. However, from the fourth dimension upward, there are energetic manifestations of negative energy that create an overall encompassing group called negative entities. In this video, I'm going to talk about false white light entities, what they are, and why they feed off us. So negative entities, for example demons, they know they're evil, it's very obvious, and most people are not going to believe a big horned demon that he is a good guy. However, false white light entities will instead actively try and trick and deceive you into thinking that they are actually the good guys. So, for example, they'll show up as, and by show up I mean a false white light entity, it may have an inherent somewhat decent looking form, but usually they're quite ugly. It may be a big black shadowy figure with 4 million eyes and mouths moving all around its body with some tentacles coming out of its head. It may be a lion demon. It may be a anorexic looking alien-esque creature. That's what they tend to look like, but they will cloak themselves in whatever you'll believe them. As in whatever you would believe would be positive to you. So for example, they'll show up as dead parents, dead children, dead pets. They'll show up as a being and they'll tell you that they're God, and they'll talk in a super deep voice, or they'll say that they're the ghost of your ex-girlfriend, and they'll sound just like her. Now, if you're not exactly visual in your mind, you will just hear their voices that way. So, false white light entities will actively try and manipulate and deceive you so they can build up trust with you. For example, if Dracula, and there is some truth to this story, if he's at your door and he goes, knock, knock, let me in, and you say, no, not letting you in, you're purely evil, right? And he goes, oh, and now it will take him 2 months to knock down your door. If you go and open the door, so Dracula knocks on your door, you go, oh yes, it's my long lost girlfriend from when I was 10, right? You open the door, and then she immediately starts eating you. You've let Dracula in. That is why they're doing this. So, in the center, you may say, how are they feeding off us? Well, in the center of our chest is our soul area. In there is our soul. It generates a large amount of positive energy, especially when sleeping. Now, negative entities, they do not have a soul. They have a base level consciousness that is similar to a parasite's. All they think is eat, grow stronger, and deceive. Those are their 3 main programs. And if you try and talk to them, you're going to find out there's really not much there. And the more you press, the angrier they will get. So they will tell you whatever lie they can. If you believe in a particular religion, they'll say they're angels or gods from that religion. One woman in particular, she had 20 reptilians in her head talking to her. And they told her that they were tulpas. They were a part of her brain that had become developed its own consciousness that wasn't hers from shock. Now, they were completely lying to her, but by telling her that, she believed that she could not get rid of them because they were simply a part of her brain. And she may also miss them because they created that energetic program inside of her. So, that brings me talking about spirit guides. In the past, I've tried to connect with quite a few spirit guides. One rather literal thing I did is I energetically created an energetic realm inside of my body. I just created a coffee shop, right? A cafe type thing. I don't even drink coffee, but I thought, this will work for meeting place. And I sat down in one chair and I put out the intention, I would like to meet a spirit guide. And down in comes, first off it was a man, an old looking man in a top hat and a cane, and he sat down. And using my own energy, now you can just create a sword and attack them mentally, or you can do much more complex things. But I energetically attacked him, and immediately his entire center opened up and octopus tentacles came out to react to him being harmed with positive energy. Positive energy cannot harm anything positive. If I were to hit you with my soul energy and hit your soul with it, nothing negative could possibly happen. Only using negative energy could something happen, because energy is very polarizing. But he transformed into that and attacked me. So I erased him, and then in came another one. I believe this was a woman. She sat down, I attacked her, transformed into a giant half elephant, half lion demon with tusks and blonde hair, and I went ahead and erased her. And then after going through 5 or 6, I went, okay, I don't think one's going to show up. Now, that's the best example I can give for my own experience with spirit guides, but I had tried to connect various times before, and I've never seen a positive spirit guide, both around me, and I can see other people's spirit guides, and I've never once seen them having a positive spirit guide either. I'll talk more about spirit guides in a bit. Next, I'll talk about higher selves. Now, the concept of a higher self is that there is this ultimate prime progenitor you, right? It's you. You are God outside. And in here is a teeny tiny sliver, like a fingernail, in here. Now, in my experience, I believe that even if we are out there, it's very, very hard to connect, but I think that's very doubtful. I think we, as individuals, our soul is here. This is who we are right now. Every aspect of us, every part of ourselves, this is just a working theory, is in here at this moment. It's all inside of us. So, a higher self will, it's usually be a very old demon, very crafty, and he'll say, yes, I am your higher self. I am your personal God. I'll talk about this from a shaman perspective because that's what I have experience clearing. With shamans, they will work with their higher self and they will gradually build trust with them. This higher self will clear others. I'm just making sure my light's still on. They will gradually clear others from negative entities. Now, in general, they don't tend to clear them. They tend to just put up something that blocks it. So, for example, someone has really bad left shoulder pain. They won't clear the entity causing it or the energies causing it. They will just block it up. And now those energies are there, but they're not being felt in the nervous system through the energy body. And as the person works with the spirit guide is feeding off their energy, and then he's using his energy in order to do the work. And then over time, the spirit guide's energy becomes, the higher self's energy becomes much more ingrained with what's going on, with the overall person's energy, their energy body, their different aspects. And over a while, they become so ingrained that they go, yeah, all right, this is good. This is a good body. I'll take it. And out goes the shaman's soul. That shaman is effectively dead. Their soul is gone. They're dead. Their body's still around, but for all intents and purposes, the shaman themselves, from their perspective, they're dead. The other thing that can happen is the higher self will go, yes, I'm clearing them, but I don't really care that much. And they think I'm ingrained enough. I don't really need to keep up this facade. Negative entities are usually quite lazy. And the shaman goes, hang on, hey, my clients are getting worse. What's going on here? And he goes, yeah, no, I'm actually evil. I've just been tricking you. You've been very easy to trick. And now I'm just going to yoink, I'm going to take all of your energy because I'm so ingrained in you. And they leave the shaman as an empty husk. Any abilities they had, that especially as they developed with the higher self, they're all gone because they were all the entities' abilities, and any potential abilities they had, which is usually practically nothing, is taken away as well. That higher self has betrayed them and left them. So that's what I see happening with higher selves. When I first started, I was looking at other people's higher selves, and I thought, oh yes, why are you a big octopus monster? Or one in particular I remember was just a big shadowy blob of mist. And it had eyes all over its body, very detailed black textury eyes, and mouths moved around all over its body, and giant tongues that would come out of it. And I went, oh, you're the higher self? Well, I suppose in Earth terms, we'd look at you and we'd say, you're the bad guy, but maybe our thinking is just unevolved. Perhaps outside of here, you are a supremely benevolent entity race. You have your own utopian society. Unfortunately, the way this works is if it is a giant, black, shadowy monster covered with eyes and mouths, it's evil, alright? In terms of the spirituality world and everything, really, treat it at face value. If this was a cartoon, that monster, he's clearly evil, right? You wouldn't say, oh yes, this giant, shadowy monster. No, he's the good guy. And the human who is actively doing everything positive, is actively trying to better his or her life. No, she's the bad guy. No. Accept things at face value. Attack them, and when they transform into a giant octopus monster or a big demon or the various god you thought you were worshipping, but it looks like a much more evil version of it, that's their true form, right? Accept it at face value. You go, oh, I've just been tricked. And you have been tricked. But you could have been tricked for another 5-6 years. You're figuring it out now. That's what's important. So that takes me to tarot cards. Now, tarot cards, they're a very useful tool. They do work. What happens with tarot cards is you get your tarot card deck, and I've used them a few times. You put it out and you ask a question, and then depending on how the energy works on you, what you're doing is you're connecting with blue reptilian energy. Blue reptilian energy, you can just picture a blue reptilian with white wings. That's what you're connecting with. And as you connect with the tarot cards, its energy is using its prophetic abilities to give you a correct answer. When I've used tarot cards in the past, which was a few times, I would go through the deck, and I didn't even learn what the tarot cards meant. I would do a card, then Google the cards to know what I was reading. But I'd go through and I'd feel a tingling on my hands, and I'd also have an innate knowing if that's the card. And I'd do the reading, and I could ask the same question 3 or 4 times. Same cards, or very similar cards each time. Yes, that's the blue reptilian energy you're feeling. And the more you do tarot card readings, the more ingrained the blue reptilian energy will come, and your readings will usually become much more accurate. However, unfortunately, those are not your abilities. You are simply covering yourself in blue reptilian energy. Now, as you go along, you may say, oh, well, what's the harm in that? Well, you're doing readings, things are going well, your life is going well, you're listening to your tarot cards, and then, should I marry this man? Will he make a good husband? And the tarot card readings will say yes. You ask a question 10 times, it says yes. You ask it 10 different ways, they say yes every time, and you go, good, I'm glad my life's working out, these tarot card readings are great. And then, no, your husband was evil. The tarot card readings deceived you. So they'll build trust because they know the absolute feeding buffet, and negative entities, they feed on negative emotions significantly more. They know that it's worth it to build up their trust, to get their energy ingrained into you, so that when things fall down, they can just come right in and just eat a humongous amount. That's what they're doing. In terms of prophetic abilities, you can, in time, and it's not one to start with when you're first starting, but you can develop that. You can develop a superhuman intuition. And no one will be able to take it away from you because it will be your ability. You won't need cards, you'll just be able to think and you'll get a great answer. I'd recommend doing that. Next, I'll talk about a buzzword that negative entities love, and especially false white light entities. And in terms of false white light entities, if I were to have found this term, I would not have called them false white light entities, because that goes, oh, well, where are the real white light entities, right? It's like, oh, well, not all the reptilians bad. No, they are all bad. Face value, is this demonic evil race all evil? Yes. Even this guy who's got like a sailor's hat on, yes, even the one with the sailor's hat on, he's also evil. Oh, but he says he's a good guy. No, he is a bad guy. They're all bad. They're physical manifestations of evil. There aren't going to be a few outliers that are actually really good guys, and they're great to get on with. No. So, is there a true white light? And the answer is, I've not seen a positive white light. I've never seen a true angel with golden wings who's come down and given me a big hug and I've cried. No, it's not happened. What there is your personal source energy, which can be positive and rainbow inside of yourself, not external. There's your soul energy, that's quite good. There's your origin energy. There's quite a few various positive energies deep inside of you that as you unblock and train, you will be able to tap into, but not white light energy. So I'm calling it false white light energy simply because somebody else called it false white light energy, and by talking about that, people have somewhat of a concept of what I'm talking about. So that's white light energy. So they will say, everything is for your highest good. Yes, you may be $10,000 in debt and your physical body's in excruciating pain all the time and you can barely formulate a sentence and you can't count to 10. But 3 months from now, we'll be done working on you and you'll be golden. You'll be beautiful. Everything about you will be fixed. You will have genius level intelligence. Your physical body will be great. You'll ascend. You'll be terrific. And you'll say, yes, I know we told you this 3 months back and 3 months before then, but things change. You know how things go. We can't get everything right. Plans change. And they'll tell you 3 months, 3 months, 3 months for 10 years. And people just cling to it going, it's just another 3 more months. I know I've already put up for the 4 years. I can do another 3 more months. They're deceiving you. There's no 3 more months. Now, another thing they'll tell you is you needed to suffer. You would not be the same person you are now. You'd be much better off if you had not suffered that way. Yes, your parents were violent. Look at you. You can now handle violence. Yes. You had brain cancer. No, you had breast cancer and you overcame it. Yes, you can handle things. You know you can. And the answer is, well, yeah, but none of that was necessary suffering. It was unnecessary suffering. This was not to build character. They peddle this lie that you experience life and you suffer and you grow. And then you have a life review. And then they block off your memories, so none of it matters. And then you do it again. That's what's going on. So they're deceiving you. Another thing they majorly do is they let you get hit, so you rely on them more. So it's 2 a.m. You're laying in bed, you're sleeping, and a big black demon, he comes in your window, and he goes in through your spinal cord, into your dream realm. He terrorizes you. You have a terrifying nightmare. You wake up, you're absolutely shook, and the first thing you do when you wake up and you see this demon is you don't do what I do, where you immediately start strangling him and energetically erasing him. No, you go, oh, angels, help me! And then the angels come in and they go, oh, sorry, we were out for lunch. we must have missed this one. And then they shoo him off. And they do this because, number one, they've just put you in a worse energetic state so they can feed off your free energy much more easily, and they're getting you to rely on them much more. They're making you not even think, just, something happens, you call on them. That's what's going on there. And oftentimes, as long as you keep praying to them and worshipping them each night, they won't do this. But they may just, every 3 weeks, just let the demon in. And often it'll be the exact same demon with the same dream tactic. It's just happening over and over. And you go, well, they can't be around me all the time. It's like, no, trust me, they're around you all the time, feeding off you. The whole time. That's what's going on there. So, they'll let you get hit just so you rely on them. Another thing to really take note of is they never give you any techniques or training tools to build your own energy. I've never seen someone's angel go, and this is the perfect shield for you. This is how you make it. No, they'll go, they will give you some techniques, but the techniques they give you will be through them. It'll be deepening your connection with them. You'll begin to hear them more, which is often quite bad, as that just means their energy is getting more ingrained in your overall energetic field. That's a problem. But they won't give you techniques that are going to build your own energy so you can stand up for yourself. They want you to rely on this. A good example of this is they will peddle you in to different energy grids so that you do a bit of training, but you never get far. So, for example, Reiki. Reiki does work. These Reiki symbols go on you, and you can use them to do things. But when you use a Reiki symbol, let's say when I use my energy, I use 100% of my energy, and I get 100% output. With Reiki, I use 100% of my energy, and I get, and I've never used Reiki. I was always had enough intuition to go, no, that doesn't feel right. But if I were to use Reiki, I would go 100% output, 100% input, 2% output, because 98% of that energy has just been eaten up by the Reiki symbol, and it's been eaten up by various false light entities. And with Reiki, it has a very low ceiling. You can train in Reiki for 6 years, and you can train every day for like 10 hours. And you won't get very far. Yes, you are progressing, and it's so slow, but you're gradually getting there. If you train your own energy within 6 months, you'll be easily, even if you've got a lot of blockages, stronger than you would be on Reiki with 6 years of training, hands down. So you're much better off just, avoiding Reiki and avoiding the different traps they try and put you in. Another thing, and this is not my personal experience, but I had one client who'd done Buddhism, and he'd done it for years, and he said that he was getting stronger, but it was going to take him 30 years to do medium level things, because they needed to give him enough that he'd keep doing it, but it had to be so slow that he got disempowered and, eventually stopped. Now that's just his experience, and it may be just that particular group, but they tend to try and get us into things that will just take up all our time and get us practically nowhere. So, in general, you're much better off training your own energy, as you'll build it up, and they won't be able to just say, all right, good, I've had enough, yoink, and then leave you with nothing. So long as you build that up, you build up your foundation, you'll be able to rely on yourself, you'll build up your own confidence, and you'll be able to stand up for yourself without basically having to just pay another warden to watch over you. That's what's going on there. I'll talk about mantras now. So with mantras, I never really did many mantras, but I did I was curious about mantras. So about 2 years ago, I tried them, and I did a mantra, and what I saw was a mantra portal opened up. On comes a false white light cord, and in comes all this false white light energy as I'm saying the mantra, and I was high. I was like, whoa, I'm high. That's alarming. The second I stopped doing the mantra, about 2 minutes later, the high went away. And don't do drugs. This is not me telling you to do mantras, because here's why. What happens is the second you stop doing the mantra, out goes your soul energy. Out goes all the soul energy you've been generating. Boom, up into the mantra portal to the Hindu god realm, and they now have a basically permanent cord unless you cut it to the mantra energy realm that you've connected. And then you say, okay, well that's not that bad. If I just keep doing the mantra all the time, I can just be high, right? And they won't get to steal off me. No, because here's what'll happen the next day. You'll do the same mantra, and on comes a portal, opens a portal, on comes a mantra cord, and you go, wait a minute, hang on, what about the other portal? Exactly. You now have 2 mantra portals. Each time you do mantras, and you give it a bit of a break, new mantra portal opens, and I've seen people with tens of thousands of mantra cords. That's what goes on with them. Now, you're okay to do positive affirmations like, I am safe, I am free, I am powerful, that's fine. But if you're speaking another language, that's dangerous, because oftentimes you're saying, I hereby give this God absolutely everything of me. He can have all my soul energy. Knock himself out. That's what you're saying in that world, in that language. So you don't want to do that. You want to say, no, I don't give permission to anyone. Just keep it in English and you'll be much safer if you are going to do affirmations. Don't do mantras. Don't connect to external beings. You're much better off connecting inwards and building up your own energy connection that way. Now, a big thing is getting out of pain. A lot of people, they get into spirituality because they go, I've got all these millions of health problems, and the doctors say, oh yeah, no, you're stressed. And you go, can you give me anything for that? That's excruciating pain, come on. And they say, no, just get a good night's sleep. So they get into spirituality because they're problems. They're stemming from energetic attacks. They are. But these false white light entities, they will temporarily get you out of pain, but they're usually just sealing things in. So you think, okay, well, if I can just astral project and leave this body, I can have, 3-4 hours pain-free? And the answer is, potentially you can, yes. But what you do want to do, instead of having the goal to be completely disassociate and hand your body over to false white light entities, you want to move forward and instead get out of pain. A good way to preface this is by saying, when you first start energy training, you're at the start of a race. And if you train your own energy, you run forward 10 kilometers. And as you run, your body gets lighter. It's not all easy, but it does get lighter. The pain gets lesser. Things improve. But if you do false white light energy, you're running the wrong way. So you've just been running and you're 40,000 kilometers back from the starting line, and you go, oh dear, well, now it's a sunk hole fallacy, right? You go, well, I may as well keep running the wrong way, because if I keep running that way, I should eventually get back to the starting line. No, what you need to do is you need to turn around and go that way. You do have to claw your way through 40,000 kilometers to get to the starting line. But so long as you build up your own energy, and you build up your own energetic strength, you have much more potential doing it that way. So you'll turn around, and I've had clients and they've been doing false white light energy rituals and getting nowhere and having lots of problems, and then they turn around and they do get back first to the starting point, and then from there they continue forwards and they improve massively. I mean, I used to have just chronic pain everywhere, and it's not like I'd smashed my hand on a drawer and there was a logical cause for it. It's just like, why am I in so much pain? I'm waking up and I feel like I've been hit by a truck. Why am I covered in cuts and bruises from energy attacks? What's going on here? And the answer is that yes, you can overcome it. It can take years. But right now I'm completely pain free. I'm emotionally happy, which is bloody phenomenal. My mind's completely clear. As you clear more blockages, your intellect does increase. But the false spotlight entities, they'll tell you, look, just wait, and then one day you'll wake up, boom, and you're a super genius and pain free, and you've got a brand new body. That's not how this works. You do have to gradually improve, but you can. Even if you're like 200 kilometers that way, you can turn around, you come back to the starting line, and then you keep going. And you will progress faster than people who have just started at the starting line, because you have had to get back to the starting line. So while you did start minus 200 kilometers, your speed as you really train and you properly go in the right direction will be much more. So that's what I had to talk about false white light energy. I'm just thinking if I have anything else to add. Oh, just one thing at the end, and this is more of a side note, but be very careful with books you read. If, for example, if you're reading essentially a New Age Bible type book, books have ingrained energy in them. And you want to be very careful, because while you're reading this book, you may feel the energy, depending how energy sensitive you are. Often if you've been doing false white light energy for a long time, they have disassociated you from your body. Your body's under so much false white light energy that you won't feel much, and you will have to clear that out before you can actually feel your own energy. I've had clients tell me, no, I'm completely clean. And I go, oh, okay. And then I clear off this surface layer of false white light energy, and it's like they've got that much stuff hiding underneath it, just a humongous amount of things. And that's because they're not fully clean. They haven't cleaned anything. What they've done is they've just covered it with a white layer of paint. It's like if half your house fell down and then you just put up a wall and painted white over it. Your house is still falling down, and it's a major problem. You can't just ignore it. But yes, with false white light books, be very careful, because just like with mantras, how that energy goes in, energy is encoded in books, and it's deliberate. So you're reading this book and just blah, 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 you're just getting false white light energy vomited all over you. So you want to be just careful what you consume in general, but those false white light books, they can do quite a lot of damage. And that's it. Even if you've been doing false white light energy for 20 years, just try out the waterfall technique. Try out your own energy. Try and build your own energy. I would recommend that. You can always go back to false white light energy if you truly don't believe it. But test the entities. Just make sure you're not being deceived. And it's much better for you to go, oh man, this entity that I thought was my mum for the past 8 years was actually tricking me. Then 30 years later, your mum's going, I told you that woman was bad. I told you. And you're like, but mum, you told me you said she was a good woman. No. You've got your mum in your head just talking. That's not your mum. You're putting up with a demonic monster just talking in your head. It's important, especially negative thought loops. If you can just, even if you've not energetically trained much, just go, hang on. Like, you're just sitting here and it's like, blah, 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 blah. Just nonsense, and it's annoying and negative. It's not yours. The second you go, that's not mine, someone else is talking to me, it becomes significantly less real. Because we'll talk about this in another video, but I used to think that my own subconscious had turned on me. It's like, what's going on, subconscious? Get your act together. Shut up. And it was just these negative entities just talking and giving you negative thought loops, and then giving you an emotional, energetic kick, so you feel like it's your thought and you're putting yourself in a negative energetic state. But if you can just say, hey, these thoughts aren't mine, and you tune them out, it's much easier. Anyway, I'll stop now before I make this a 4-hour video, because I could do that. So that's it. Take care.